Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Doug DiVirgilio. I'm a SCORE mentor and a member of the Minnesota Education Committee. Welcome to our webinar today on Get Your Local Business on Google Search and Maps, presented by Pamela Starr. Now, before I introduce Pamela to you, I'm going to go ahead and share some important information with you about SCORE. SCORE is a nationwide nonprofit organization that is an independent resource partner of the U.S. Business Administration, Small Business Administration. And we've been in existence since 1964, and we partner very closely with them, as you know, if you've been to the website, which I'll be giving you more information on in a minute. The SCORE provides America's small businesses with free confidential business mentoring. We do that both in person and online, and a host of educational and online webinars, podcasts, papers, links that can help you whatever form of stage of growth your business may be in. So we have 300 chapters across the country, 10,000 volunteers here in Sarasota, Manatee County, which includes everything but Northport, which is aligned with Port Charlotte. We have 90 volunteers with a very wide, diverse background of business expertise to help pretty much any business out there. So we really encourage you to sign up for a mentor, get a mentor, work with a mentor. Again, it's nonprofit. It's our services being offered to you free of charge to you. Sometimes our consulting with clients is 1 or 2 sessions. Other times it goes on for a number of years based on your need. Our chapter has recently been recognized as District Chapter of the Year, and we've won many awards across the 50 years we've been in existence. Since its founding in 1964, SCORE has assisted over 11 million clients and small businesses throughout the USA. Now, how can we help you? Well, many of you are dreaming of starting your business. Some have had lifelong dreams of wanting to start a business. How do you do that? It's very complicated. We can help you with the pre-startup, research, planning, business planning, how-to phase, and happy to do that. In the startup phase, another complicated phase. You're starting up now. What else needs to be done? How do you keep it going? Again, a lot of resources there to help you. We can help you there with mentors also on our website in growing your business. I've seen a lot of businesses actually struggle because growth was too much success. So we can help you with that, or how to grow it, and also buying, selling, or closing, exiting, and many other ways. So a lot of ways we can help you as you work to get your business as successful as you can. Now, here's the website. Please visit it if you haven't, score.org/Minnesota. You can request a mentor there. You can look at mentor profiles. You can see upcoming webinars like this one. You can get access to recorded webinars. And just want to note now, you will receive, after this is done, a link to the recorded webinar and the slides that Pamela will be presenting. So they will be coming to each of you that is registered and that is attended today. Now, let me mention also Q&A. What we're going to do with Q&A, Pamela would like you to type it into the Q&A area. So if you have a question, don't put it in chat, put it in Q&A, and she will get to them at the end. She may address a few during her presentation, but most will be at the end. We'll leave plenty of time to answer all questions, even if we go beyond the hour. Now, we couldn't go forward if we didn't thank our sponsors, and you see them listed here. Without them and their long-term support of us, we would not be able to do all we do for you. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Pamela for her presentation.
Thanks, Doug, for that introduction. I am going to go ahead and share my screen. There we go. All right, so as you just heard, my name is Pamela Starr, and we're here today to help you learn how you can get your local business on Google Search and Maps. Now, just a little bit more information about me. Some of you may have seen me at other presentations that I have done. I've done a lot of presentations for SCORE Minnesota. I am an independent business owner, and I am also a professional trainer for Grow with Google. That's the division of Google that provides all kinds of free education to people just like you. In the good old days, pre-COVID, Google put me on an airplane and flew me all around North America to do face-to-face presentations. And I have done face-to-face presentations for SCORE Manitoba. Since then, we all learned the wonders of doing online presentations. And I've actually been able to help even more people by doing educational webinars, just like I'm doing here today. As I mentioned, I am a small business owner just like you. If you have any questions and you want to connect with me, you are welcome to connect with me through my website, which is PamelaStarOnline.com. And one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, hey, Pamela, how can I learn to do what it is that you do? And so I actually recently put together an online training course that teaches people to get 10 new clients in 30 days by doing educational workshops and seminars. This is something that I have built my business on since 2003. But enough about me. We're here to talk about you and how you can get your local business on Google Search and Maps. This is by using a 100% free tool called a Google Business Profile. If you've been around for a while, you may remember something called Google My Business. This is basically the evolution of what used to be called Google My Business. Google My Business no longer exists anymore. It's now officially your Google Business Profile. I'm going to start off today talking about what is this and how can it benefit your business. Then I'm going to transition into how can you create a business profile for the first time if you've never had one. And then I'm going to talk also about how you can update your profile if you have had one. Also, Google has made some pretty significant changes in the last year to how you approach your business profile and how you manage that. So I'm going to go into that information kind of towards the middle chunk of today's presentation. Now, as Doug mentioned, you all are going to get a link to a recording of the video. You are also going to get a copy of my slides, but I know you still may have more questions. And so at the very end of today's presentation, I'm going to share with you some additional resources that Google has for you that can help you learn how to really maximize this tool. For those of you that are watching today's presentation live, if you have a question for me during the presentation, please put it in Zoom's Q&A, not in the chat. I've got two monitors, lots of windows open. It's kind of hard for me to keep my eye on the chat, but I am keeping my eye on the Q&A. There may be times where I have information to share with you, and I will put links in the chat, so I will be using it for that. We're going to start off talking about what is a Google Business Profile. This is probably something that you have seen if you have looked for some type of business in your local community. The business profile, as I mentioned before a couple of times already, this is a 100% free tool. It is designed for businesses that typically see their customers face to face. If you work with customers or clients in your local community and you want to be found on Google Maps, the Google Business Profile is perfect for you. If you have an online-only business, maybe you have an Etsy store or an Amazon store, and you never want to see those pesky customers face to face, this actually is not the right tool for you. If that's the case, be on the lookout for one of the other presentations that I've done for SCORE Manitoba called Reach Customers Online with Google. That one, I talk all about your primary website. Actually, I have a couple of webinars that I talk about your primary website. But today, we're talking about the Google Business Profile. Depending on what type of business you have, your profile may look a little bit different. But what I'm showing you on the screen right now is a sample profile for a service-based business, an electrical contractor actually out of Detroit. This is a real business. There's the name of the business, photos and videos that the business uploaded to their profile, as well as ones that their customers did. And I'm going to talk about how to do all of this in a few minutes. This particular business is a brick and mortar business, meaning they welcome people to show up at their business unannounced. So they do want their business address on their business profile. What's great about that is people can sit at home, find this business's information, and Google will give them turn-by-turn directions on how to get from where they are to where the business is. If you have a brick and mortar business, like a restaurant or retail store, or some type of office that is staffed during office hours, this would be perfect for you. Now, if you are a home-based business and you don't want your customers to come to you because you go to them, you still can have a Google business profile and you can hide your address. I'm going to talk about the address in a couple of minutes. Depending on how you set this up, you also can show your hours of operation, if that makes sense for you. You can have your phone number, links to your website. If you have booking software, maybe you're a hair salon and you use Booksy or Booker for your booking appointments, you can link that to your business profile. So there's a lot you can do with this one particular tool. What's great about the business profile is if people are looking for a business like yours, just doing a regular run-of-the-mill Google search, there's a good opportunity that they may find your Google business profile. Or oftentimes people will go straight to Google Maps and they'll look for a restaurant. In the old days when I was traveling full-time, I still do travel and do educational workshops, not quite as much as I used to when I was doing it full-time. But when I was traveling, I would land in a new community. I'd go straight to Maps and look for my favorite type of restaurant near me. Is there a locally owned taco restaurant I can go to? When I was traveling, I used to eat a lot of sushi. I guess I lived on the edge to go into a strange city, eat sushi at a new restaurant the night before I was supposed to give a big presentation. Fortunately, it never backfired to me. But I used Google Maps to find businesses in a local community that I had never been to before, and simply by looking at their Google business profiles. All right, Charles gets the digital prize for being the first person to put a question in the Q&A. Charles says, for online businesses, I mentioned other Google business products. What you would be interested in, Charles, is whatever your primary website is, that's what you want to think about promoting. There's 2 presentations that I have done for SCORE Minnesota about that. One of them is called Reach Customers Online with Google, and the other one is called Make Your Website Work for You. So be on the lookout for those presentations because that's going to give you great information. Now, going back to the Google business profile, one of the things that is really helpful for you is some people may look at your business profile on their mobile device, their smartphone. Other people may look for you on their desktop or laptop computer. Other people may look for you on their tablet. You don't need to worry about any of that. Google makes sure that your business profile is what we call fully mobile responsive, meaning no matter what device people look for, your business profile is going to look good. The layout's going to change according to what device they are using. You don't need to worry about it. Google takes care of you with that. Now we're going to talk about how do you create a business profile for the very first time. This is also helpful for those of you who perhaps do have a business profile that you created a few years ago, but somehow kind of lost track of it, because that can happen. This is how you can kind of find it again and reactivate it. The way that I recommend you start creating your first Google business profile is simply by going to google.com/business. And it will kind of walk you through the process of starting the business profile setup. There are actually a couple of other ways that Google recommends that you can go to Google and set up your business profile. Option number 1 is you can visit maps.google.com. Type in your business address and then click on the link that says add your business. That's a great way of doing it. The other way when you're on Google Maps is to click on the 3-line icon. We sometimes call that the hamburger icon. That's on the left of the left menu. And click on that, and there's also a place where you can add your business. Option number 3 is to navigate to your actual physical location on the map. Right click, and then you'll also get that same drop down that says add your business. So there's a variety of different ways that you can add your business for the very first time. Now, there is a little bit of a catch here. And the catch is you need to know what Google account you are in when you set up your business profile for the first time, because that's the Google account you need to be in every time you want to make an update to your business profile. So What's a Google account? If you have a Gmail email address, you have a Google account. If you're like me and you have a professional Google email address called a workspace address, you have a Google account. My email address that I use for business is not a Gmail address. It's Pamela@PamelaStarOnline.com. That's my email address, but it's still a Google account because I purchased that email address through Google Workspace. So the thing to keep in mind is if you have more than one Gmail email address, you have more than one Google account. I personally think I've got like 4 Google accounts. I have my Workspace account I use for work. I have a Gmail address I use for my friends and family. I have another Gmail address that I use for some other business activities. I have another Gmail address that I use for kind of demos when I'm creating slide presentations like this. That means I've got 4 Google accounts. Just be sure you know what account you are in when you set up your business profile. Now, sometimes people will say to me, I only have one Gmail address that I use. Do I need a different email address? Not necessarily. Nobody will see your email address when you set up your Google business profile. But it is important that you know what account you use to set it up. The only time you will get emails about your business profile to that email address is from Google. They may send you information. So you do need to be sure it's an email address that you do check on a regular basis. As I mentioned before, there are a variety of different ways that you can start your business profile. The very first thing that you'll do is type in your business name. Now, I know this sounds obvious, but oftentimes I will see people who have a formal name for their business. They're an LLC or they're incorporated, but they're doing business as something friendly. You want to put the friendly name of your business here, the name that you want people to recognize. Now, if you're not sure about should you have an LLC or a DBA or what do those things mean? Oh no, what am I supposed to do? That's a perfect conversation to have with a SCORE mentor. SCORE is great about providing all kinds of education about your business structure. Look for their resources, schedule a one-on-one session with a SCORE mentor, and they can kind of help you figure out what's most appropriate for your particular business. On your business profile, start typing in your name, and you'll see a drop-down menu. The more letters you type, the fewer things will show up in that drop-down menu because there may be other businesses in other parts of the country that have the same name as yours, but Google will pretty much recognize where in the country are you. And if there is no other business that they've already found with your name in your community, you're good to go. Sometimes there'll be businesses with very similar names. So just be sure if there is a list of businesses, if you think one of them is yours, be sure that it's the right one. If nothing shows up in the dropdown, don't worry about it. Just type in your business name as you want people to recognize that. The next thing that you need to do is select a primary category for your business. For some people, this is easy. I'm a plumber. I'm a doggy daycare. For other people, it gets to be a little bit frustrating. You cannot create your own category for your business. Sometimes if you have a very specific niche that you work in, there may not be a category that matches you perfectly. Don't worry about that. You've got lots of opportunities to tell people exactly what you do. Just choose a category that's broad enough that your business fits in nicely to that particular category. If your business has multiple categories that it can be a part of, choose the primary one first. In a few minutes, I'll tell you how you can add additional categories. The next question Google will ask you is super important. Do you have a location customers can visit? Meaning, if people randomly show up at the address you have, will you be there? This is for people that have a brick and mortar business. And again, that would be something like a restaurant or a retail store or certain types of offices that are staffed during your full regular business hours. If that's you, say yes. If you are home-based, say no here. Also, if your business is maybe operated, maybe you rent a desk in a shared workspace, but you're hardly ever there because, you're off meeting with customers or you're working by the pool at home or something like that, you probably want to say no here as well. If you say yes, your business address will show up on Google Maps, meaning strangers, not the creepy kind of strangers, but the nice strangers that are hopefully going to become your next best client. Those people can navigate to the address and show up at your business. If they show up at this address and you're not there, they're going to be frustrated. You cannot use a PO box here, and you cannot use one of the for-profit mailboxes that are in the strip mall next to the grocery store. You cannot use that here because, again, you don't want that address to be listed on Google Maps because you don't want somebody driving there looking for you and they end up at the post office and they're like, what the heck? I wanted to meet with this person, about their business. My guess is every SCORE mentor out there would say it's a bad decision to do something that might frustrate future customers. As a general rule, don't do that. So if you are not available to customers to come visit unannounced, you would say no here. Now, if you said yes, Google will give you the opportunity to also add what we call a service area. Emily, I see your question and I'll get to that in just a minute. If you previously said no, I don't have an address people can come visit because I work out of my home, Google will pop you straight into this area where Google will ask you what your service area is. And the service area is, where are you willing to go to help your customers? Let's say I owned Pamela's Plumbing Shop and I had a brick and mortar plumbing supply store that people could come and visit me. I would have previously said yes, I have a physical location, people can come visit. But if I also offered plumbing services, I would tell Google, I'm willing to go to these cities, or I'm willing to go to these counties to service my customers. If you had previously said no, I don't want people coming to my address, at this point, Google will ask you, where are you willing to go to meet other people? Now, sometimes people will say, but I can help anybody anywhere. I do consulting and I do everything by Zoom or by Google Meet. I can help people anywhere. Keep in mind, you do need to have the type of business where you see the majority of your customers face-to-face in order to qualify for a Google business profile. What I often tell people is, even if you really would prefer to meet people by Zoom, that way, you can work in your flip-flops. If you're willing to drive to meet somebody, just put in the areas where you're willing to drive to meet somebody for that. All right, I see a bunch of people have put in questions here. Catherine says, what about a virtual office in a building with a receptionist? There are executive suites I can rent if I have a meeting. Catherine, that's one of those situations where if you put that address of that virtual office, even if there's a receptionist, if somebody shows up there unannounced and the receptionist says, no, Catherine's not here, that person's going to get frustrated. So if that's the case, I would recommend you would not put that address there. So let me get to the next question. Okay, Veronica asked a good question. What about something like a vacation rental business? There is an address, but people should not show up unless they have a reservation. All right, so Veronica, there are special rules for certain types of businesses, including rental properties like that. For the actual vacation home itself, at 123 Main Street, that house itself cannot have a Google business profile for that very reason. You don't want people showing up, knocking on the door, looking for you, and potentially freaking out the people who are renting that house. Now, if you have a brick and mortar business that is your rental agency, maybe if you're a bigger rental area and you do property management for a variety of different locations, for your office, if people come and visit you at your office can have a business profile. If you're home-based, you can have that business profile for your overall business, but you cannot have a profile for one individual rental property. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, Kathy says, what if I have two locations, different states, one in New York and one in Florida? Can I add both locations? Absolutely. In that case, Kathy, you need two business profiles. And at the end of today's presentation, I'll show you where you can add a second business profile. All right, I see lots of people are putting in questions now. I'm going to pause on the questions. go through the majority of my content, but I will absolutely get to the rest of the questions before we wind up today. Now, the next thing that you do after you figure out the whole address scenario is you put in your telephone number and or your website, pretty straightforward. What will happen is Google will need to verify your business information before your business profile becomes officially approved. There are a variety of different ways that Google wants to verify your business profile. Now, this I know has been frustrating to some people in the past. Keep in mind, this is a good thing. First of all, if your business is going to show up out there, you want to be sure that the information is correct. You don't want some other person accidentally typing in your business name and claiming your business for themselves. So, maybe I have Pamela's Pet Shop and there's somebody that has Pam's Puppy Shop. And they, just kind of scroll through things, grab the wrong one, and they start to claim my business as their own. Google will ask you to verify your business. And there's a variety of different ways Google does that in 2023. Depending on what type of business you have and what your overall online presence is, Google may ask if you want to receive a phone call from them or a text. They may email you. In certain situations, and this would happen more with a brick and mortar business, Google may ask you to take a video, show us a video of the outside of your business, and then show us part of your business that's only open to employees, like a storeroom or something like that. Because again, Google wants to be sure the person with their fingers on the keyboard to build the business profile truly is the responsible person at that business. Then the final way that you may be asked to verify your business is Google will mail you what they call a postcard. In my opinion, it's not really a postcard. It's not like a 4x6 shiny thing with, palm trees on it. It is one of those mailers you get from the bank or the credit card company that you have to peel open, and there'll be a secret code on the inside. Once you get that, all you need to do is go back to your business profile, type in the secret code, and away we go. So that's where you need to choose that verification message. Now, while you're waiting for your business profile to become verified, you definitely want to get to know some of the other features that are available for you. So now we're going to get into how can you really manage the information. This is great for people that are just going to have their very first business profile, or for people who've had a business profile for a while. This is where you want to be sure that everything is up to date and you always keep this current. This is not a set it and forget it tool. This is definitely something that you want to keep active in. As I mentioned briefly at the beginning, Google recently updated the way that you manage your Google business profile. Now, the way that you do it is you go simply to google.com, assuming you are in the Google accounts that you use to set up your business profile, type in your business name, and then Google will let you bounce directly into the back end of your Google business profile. What I'm showing on my screen right now is a screenshot of kind of a close-up of the back end of a Google business profile as it would show up for somebody who has a verified profile using their Google account to search for their own business. There's a bunch of little icons and if you click on each of those icons, it will allow you to update a different aspect of your Google business profile. I'm going to start off talking about the edit profile icon, because that's really where most of what it is that you all are going to be doing lives. In the edit profile area, this is where you can be sure that your business name is the way you want it to be. Now, for those of you who maybe for whatever reason over the course of time, your business name changed or evolved, be really careful here. If you make a subtle change of your name, you can go ahead and change it. It shouldn't be a problem. But if you make a more significant change to your business name, Google may temporarily suspend your business profile and ask you to re-verify. So if I went from Pamela's Pet Shop to Pamela's Plumbing Service, those are two totally different types of businesses. And it would be likely that Google would suspend my business profile and I'd have to go through the process of re-verifying it because it would truly be a completely new business. This is also the place where if you have multiple categories, you can add additional categories. Remember, I told you when you set up your business profile, you have to choose your primary profile. At this area, you can add additional categories. A great example of that probably we all kind of understand would be like a car dealership. They have car sales, car parts, car service. Those might be 3 totally different categories. The next thing that you want to pay a lot of attention to here is your business description. You may have heard people talk about keywords as they relate to your primary website. And keywords are these seemingly magical words where if only you had the perfect keywords sprinkled throughout your website would magically show up on the first page of Google. Now, obviously, it's not magic, it's mathematics, but keywords absolutely are important in your Google business profile. And you want to be sure you're using the types of words that your uninformed future customer might be using when they're looking for information on Google. So you're an industry professional. You likely use industry professional words. Think of the words your casual, uninformed customer uses. One of my ones that I like to use are HVAC services. Folks, I have never once had a situation where my HVAC system wasn't working, but I've had a number of situations where my air conditioning isn't working. And so when I have that problem, I'm not Googling HVAC repair, I'm Googling air conditioning. So that's a great example of being sure you have the words that your customers use in your description. This is also a great place for those of you that have very niche businesses to tell people exactly what you do. A good example of that was I was doing a similar presentation several years ago, and somebody came up to me in person and said, "Hey, Pamela, I make quilts out of t-shirts." Now I'm going to guess many of you kind of know exactly what she was talking about. And she said, "I don't know what my category is. I'm not a quilting store. I'm not a t-shirt person. What am I?" We decided that she was gift store. But then in the description, this is where she could say something like, looking for the perfect gift for a loved one or for yourself, make commemorative quilts out of all of your favorite t-shirts. So that's what the description should be all about. Also, for many of your businesses, there are other businesses that are similar. This is your opportunity to let people know what makes you special and different than your competitors. You have 750 characters here. I definitely recommend you use them. Don't just say taco restaurant. Let people know what is special about your taco restaurant. In the edit profile area, that's also where you can add your location. I think one of the questions that somebody asked up here was about moving. Guess they hadn't. If your business, okay, so I'll get into that. If your business moves from this location to that location, you can change your address here in the location. Do be aware that if you change your address, Google will absolutely freeze your business profile until you re-verify it at the new address. If you're home-based and didn't realize that, oh my goodness, you set up your business profile last year and you didn't realize that your home address is out there for all your customers to see, this is where you would delete your home address. You can just go ahead and delete it, and that should not impact your business profile. It may take a little bit of time for that to fade away off of Google Maps, but that's how you would take that away if you are home-based. This is also where you can add your hours. And in general, I recommend you put your hours, for obvious reasons. People want to know when can they get in touch with you. There may be certain situations where you may not want to put your hours on there, and that would only be if there are big chunks of time where you are not able to answer the phone. So let's say you are a home-based travel agent and you want people to call you, but oh, by the way, you do whitewater rafting tours in Colorado where there's no cell service and you're gone for 2 weeks at a time. You may not want people to call you and they get your voicemail and you never get back to them. But for the most part, obviously, put your hours on there. There's some other things that you can do in this area as well, so be sure that you do explore that. One of the things that I want to be sure everybody understands is Google has a feature called attributes. Attributes are colorful badges that if you select them, they show up on the front of your Google business profile when people look at it on their smartphone. Attributes let people know what is unique and how does your what's unique about your business and how do you identify your business. Right now, there are 6 attributes. They are Asian owned, Black owned, Latino owned, LGBTQ plus owned, veteran owned, and women owned. So if any of those apply to your business, absolutely select them. And yes, if more than one apply to your business, select more than one. If all 6 of them apply to your business, and they could, select all 6. You know, we're in a time and a place right now where people really do want to support businesses in their local community and let people know that, you know, that you are proud that you are a Black-owned, veteran, woman-owned business. People, even if they don't personally identify with one of those categories, they may say, do you know what? I really like to support veterans. My dad was a veteran. I want to give this business a try. So be sure you understand the attributes. Periodically, Google adds new ones. They sometimes make a big deal about it. Sometimes they don't. So be sure you keep your eye on that. The next thing that you want to think about is adding photos. Now, I get a lot of questions about photos, so I'll try to kind of answer those questions in this section. You, as the business owner, you want to be sure that you are controlling how your business looks online. 90% of customers are more likely to visit a business that has photos when they search for it on Google. People want to kind of know what's the flavor of your business. Even if you're a home-based business, maybe you're like a business coach, you're like, what on earth would I take a picture of? It could be a picture of you. With their permission, it could be a picture of you and one of your happy customers. Perhaps it's a picture of you presenting or doing a workshop or something along those lines. Be sure that you do have photos on your business profile. You can also add videos up to 30 seconds. So you don't want to link to, you know, a 20-minute YouTube video. You can only upload a video that's up to 30 seconds. Now, you can identify a photo as your logo. That should show up next to your Google business profile. You can also designate a photo, kind of like as your flagship photo. Just know the feedback that I have gotten from people just like you is sometimes they'll say, I identified a photo as, you know, my cover photo, but it's still not showing up. It's kind of imperfect. I will admit to that. Don't be mad at me. I didn't do the programming. You may need to designate something as a cover photo or a logo photo more than once. Be aware your customers can also upload photos and 30-second videos. Typically, that's not going to happen for most businesses unless you're something like a restaurant or a retail store. You know, if you're a restaurant and somebody goes into the ladies' room and there's a bug in the ladies' room and they take a picture of it, or worse, there's a bug on the table and they take a picture of it, they can upload it to your Google business profile. Now, what do you do about that? There really isn't much you can do about that. What you need to do, if somebody uploads a picture that you feel is unflattering to your business, what I definitely recommend you do is just upload a whole boatload of other pictures that are much more flattering to your business. That way, the one kind of not so great picture kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Now, if somebody uploads a picture that truly is not of your business, it's of somebody else's business, you can flag that in the back end of your Google business profile and ask Google to take a look at it. If you can demonstrate to them, hey, this isn't my business, then they absolutely will remove that photo. But Google is hesitant to remove photos that customers upload, you know, for obvious reasons. Google wants to be sure that the world in general knows that those photos are authentic. Let's talk about posts now. Remember, I said a couple of minutes ago, this is not a set it and forget it resource. You do want to have updated information about your business on your profile. You can create updates through kind of a little icon that says create updates, and you can create posts. In Google on the business profile, posts are a little bit more structured than they are in some of the social media platforms that you're used to. You can put an update in, just kind of letting people know what's going on with your business right now. You can create a post that is an offer hey, great news. We've got this product on sale. What's great about offers is you can let people know this is our Independence Day sale. It doesn't have to be a sale. It could be if maybe the summertime is a little bit slower for your service business because your customers are all on vacation. You can perhaps let people know, do you know what? In the month of June, we've got 5 more spaces for free consultations. Click here to go ahead and schedule your free consultation. That would be a great offer. You also can do a post about events. Now, a lot of people think, well, I don't have events for my business. If you do have events where people come to your business, obviously you can list them here. But for many of you, you can actually do webinars, just like I do webinars. I mean, I've been doing webinars probably for at least a decade, and that type of thing can absolutely be an event. You can do a webinar straight from your office, even if it's your home office, and you can invite people by having a post about your upcoming events on your Google business profile. So those are 3 different types of posts that are available to you on your profile. The next thing that we're going to go over is how can your future customers and your current customers connect with you through your business profile. There are 3 different ways. There are reviews, and I know that's a hot topic of conversation, so I'll spend some time talking about that in a minute. People can also send you messages, and they can also ask you questions. So let's go into these one by one. First of all, let's talk about reviews. When people write a review about you on Google, it shows up on your Google business profile. What will happen is anytime somebody writes a review about you, Google will alert you and say, hey, great news, you've got a review. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a great review. So I do suggest that you respond to every single review that you get. If somebody wrote you a great review, thank them for it. Let them know how much you appreciate that. Keep in mind your response to reviews, sure, they're for the person who wrote it, but really think about it this way. Strangers are going to see that nice review. Strangers are going to see how you respond to it. If you've got 8 reviews and they're all 5-star reviews and you haven't ever replied to any of them, kind of makes it look like you don't pay attention. But if you do reply to them and say, I love working with people just like you, what that does is it tells all those other people out there who are checking you out on Google that, yeah, you're paying attention. Now, let's talk about negative reviews. And this is one of the few times that I prefer to do this presentation in webinar format. When I used to do this presentation a lot face-to-face, I would know whenever I talked about reviews, somebody would have a really grouchy look on their face and I knew what was going on. Keep in mind, if somebody writes a negative review, remember who's going to see that. Strangers are going to see that negative review. Strangers are also going to see how you respond to that negative review. Typically, there's only 1 or 2 things that I ever recommend you say to a negative review. If you know for a fact the person that wrote that bad review was never your client, maybe you are an accountant and you know exactly who your clients are. Some stranger wrote this review about how terrible you were. You can respond back and say something like, I'm so sorry you had that experience. I've looked through my client list. I don't see where you have ever been one of our clients. However, since you clearly had a bad experience with a different accounting firm, we invite you to give us a try. The other situation could be, again, even if you don't know who the person is, maybe it's a restaurant and they wrote a terrible review about you, or you know exactly who it was and the person was a nightmare. They were a complete jerk. They made your staff cry. You had to call the cops to get them out of your business. Don't respond that way. Nobody cares. Just simply say something along the lines of, I'm so sorry you had that experience. Please contact us directly so we can learn more about it. Keep in mind, somebody is going to look like a jerk. Don't let it be you. You want to take the high road. So all those strangers out there that see that horrible review, they see that you're paying attention and you want to try and solve the problem. They don't need to know the backstory. Nobody cares about that. Now, if somebody writes a review, like with the photos, if it truly is not for your business, it's for somebody else's business, you can flag it on the back end of your business profile and ask Google to review your review. If you can demonstrate to Google that it wasn't for Pamela's puppy training service, it was for Paula's cat training service, they will absolutely remove that review. It may take a little bit of time for them to do that, but that is part of their process. So how do you get more reviews? You need to ask for them. Google will give you a link that you can share with your loyal, happy customers via email. Google will also let you share on a couple of different social media apps, that same link kind of automatically. What I do recommend is if you share the request to have somebody write a review about you on Google, if you share that on social media, people will typically write a nice review about you on that social media platform, which is great because you want to have good reviews on your social media platforms. But if you're truly trying to drive reviews on Google, what I recommend you do is take that link, email it to your loyal, happy customers, or text it to your loyal, happy customers, and just be genuine with them. Say, hey, we're trying to build up the number of reviews that we have on Google. We would love it if you would write an honest review about your experience with us. You can ask people to write an honest review. You can ask people to write a genuine review. Do not ask people to write you a 5-star review. Do not tell people that if they write you a 5-star review, you'll give them a coupon or a discount. If Google finds out that you are trying to influence people's reviews or bribe people for good reviews, they may shut down your business profile. We already talked about responding to reviews. I got ahead of myself. For those of you that have had a business profile for a while, you may really want to start paying attention to your performance reports. Google has all of this information. Google can tell you how many people called your business directly through your business profile. How many people looked for the driving directions to get to your business? How many people went to your website through your Google business profile? This performance information is available to you for everybody. If you're just getting started with your business profile, you may not be quite ready for this, but as you build traction over the course of time, you may find this information really helpful for you as you try to figure out how to navigate marketing your business. So a couple of things that I want to get into right before we wind up. I know that I've got a list of questions that I have not yet answered. I will get through those questions. If you have more questions, this is a great time for you to put them into the Q&A. As a reminder to everybody, you will get a copy of the recording of today's presentation, as well as my slides. Those will come to you directly from SCORE. Give them about 24 to 48 hours to get that out to you, but you'll have all of the information that we have to talk about today, because I know it was a lot. So I kind of went over the highlights of creating and updating your business profile. What I want to show you now is kind of like the more area. And more is kind of a catch-all of a couple of oddball kind of things with your business profile, but they are super important to you. When you go to google.com, type in your business name, assuming you're in the Google accounts that you use to build your business profile, you'll see kind of the front door to the back end of your business profile with those little icons that I talked about before. In the upper right-hand corner, kind of to the right of where your business name is, there's 3 little dots. Click on those 3 little dots and you'll get a drop-down menu. That's where you can update some of the settings related to your business profile. There's a couple of things here I want to go over. I'm not going to go over everything. This is the place where you can add a new business profile. So somebody asked earlier, I think I already closed that question. Somebody asked earlier, you know, I have a second location out of state. What do? This is what you would do. Go to your first business profile, click on the 3 little dots, and then click on Add New Business Profile. And they can start building the profile for the second one, which means that you'll be able to kind of manage them both kind of sort of from one place. So that's where you can get that information. This is also the place where you can get help and support for your Google business profile. Now, I'm going to be real with you here. This is a 100% free tool. In fact, somebody had a question, which was, is there a fee to add updates? The answer is no. There is no fee to do anything with your Google business profile. This is a 100% free tool. With Google's free tools, support can be kind of skimpy. There's no like 1-800 Google business profile number that you can call. There are millions of Google business profiles for businesses across the United States. Google could never have enough people to answer all of those telephone calls. But if you have a problem, you can go to those three little dots, navigate down to help and support. Type in what your issue is. It will first pop you into the Google support, the Google help area. There's a lot of really great information in there. So look through those because you may find the answer to your question. And then if you go down to the bottom of any page, there is a place there where you can fill out a form to contact support. So that's where you can get more information about the business, about support for your Google business profile. The other thing I'm going to do for you right now is I'm going to put in the chats. Let me find it. I have a little digital sticky notepad here on my computer. Here we go. I have heard people say that they've had good luck connecting with the Google business profile team on social media when they've had issues. So I just put in the chat to the Zoom for the live presentation here today, their Twitter handle and their Facebook page. If you don't get satisfaction out of going through the regular support channel, you may try going ahead and reaching them on Twitter or Facebook. Their Twitter handle is at Google My Biz with a Z, and their Facebook page is Google Business Profile. Some people have told me that they get pretty good response there because it's kind of a public venue. So that may be something that you can try as well. Sadly, I do not have any control over any of that stuff. I don't have any insight path, sadly, to get things fixed for you. So those are the two options that I recommend that you try. So let's talk a little bit about what you do. What do you do first? What do you do next? If you have never completed a business profile, definitely go ahead and claim your business. If you have had a business profile in the past, be sure that it is up to date. You will have to verify your business profile by going through that verification process. Even if you have a business profile that you set up maybe a couple of years ago and you verified it back then, if you haven't been active on it in a while, Google may ask you to re-verify it. So just know that that may happen. While you're waiting for that verification, be sure that you get to know the rest of the resources that are available to you in your business profile. Over the course of time, absolutely make it a habit of reviewing and updating your business information. Things change, your business evolves. Customers have different questions and different needs. Be sure that your business profile is up to date and fresh. Add lots of photos. Remember, you can add those videos of up to 30 seconds. People love to see that. People want to see your posts. I know sometimes it can feel like just one more chore to take care of, but this is really powerful for businesses. It is one of the simplest free marketing tools out there that you can have to be found by people in your local community. If you're a little bit further along the way, definitely be sure that you're getting to know those performance reports that I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago. Okay, so now I want to share with you some free resources. The first resource that I want to share is for businesses that have verified profiles that are brick and mortar businesses. Not everybody will be able to do this, but Google has what they call a marketing kit. You can find this at g.co/marketing kits. And what Google will do is pull information from your Google business profile and kind of organize it into print-ready arts that you can take to your local print shop. And those are things like posters or table tents or flyers. And they also can pull some social media posts with like your reviews and that type of thing. What I recommend you do is if you have a brick and mortar business, definitely go to that website, g.co/marketing kit, type in your business name and see if this is available to you. If you go there and it says, great news, set up your business profile, and you're like, but I already have a business profile, that simply means your business category is not eligible for this particular type of option. If you're home-based, it typically won't be, because what are you going to do with a table tent other than have it on your dining room table to make you feel good? So it's not for everybody, but it's definitely for some people. What is for everybody is Grow with Google, which again is the division of Google that provides all kinds of free education to people just like you, has a really great YouTube channel. You can find all kinds of educational videos at youtube.com/Grow with Google. Always go straight to the source anytime you want to get information about Google. There are all kinds of third-party experts that create videos about Google tools. They may have been fantastic the day that they created the video, but then Google changed something, and all of a sudden you might be watching a video that's totally out of date. So definitely be sure that you get to know the Grow with Google YouTube channel. Now, the next thing is actually from me to all of you. People, I've been doing these presentations for a long time, and people ask me the same questions over and over again. Hey, Pamela, where can I get copyright-free photos I can use on social media, in my Google profile posts, on my websites? Hey, Pamela, where can I get stock video photography I can use? Hey, Pamela, do you know any free video editing software I can use? Everybody's looking for free resources, including me. So what I actually did was I put together a whole list of free resources in an email. I'm going to put a link in the chat right now. I will be happy to send that to you. Hang on just a second. What I don't want to do is spam anybody. So if you want to get a link to this, if you want to get a link, sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. If you want me to email you all of these free tools, by all means, click on the link I just put in the chat. If you're watching the recording of this, if you're watching it on your desktop or laptop computer, if you have a smartphone handy, you can scan the QR code, or you can go directly to my website, which is PamelaStarOnline.com, and you can request these free resources there. I don't have anything to do with these resources other than it's just a bunch of free stuff that rather than me telling people individually, I just put it all in an email, and you're welcome to request that email from me. Finally, if you do have questions for me after today's webinar is over, you are welcome to visit my website. I've got a contact form on there. Just fill out that contact form. It goes straight to my inbox and I will get straight back to you. Again, the website is PamelaStarOnline.com. And then, as I mentioned at the very beginning, I've got a brand new online course that teaches people to do exactly what it is that I do for a living, which is deliver educational workshops, seminars, and webinars. And I teach people how to do it so you can get more clients. If you're interested in checking that out, you can find that on my website also, PamelaStarOnline.com/10new-clients. And I will put a link to that in the chat. All right, so that takes me, Doug, to the end of my presentation. I know Doug's got a couple of final comments about SCORE, and I will be then happy to hang on for a couple of minutes afterwards because I know that there's a list of questions that are in there, and I want to be sure I get everybody's question answered. So, Doug, do you want me to stop sharing my screen or?
Yes, you did, right?
I will stop sharing it right now.
Okay.
There you go.
Thanks. I want to make sure I can. Are you able to see my slide, Pamela?
I do not see your slides.
Okay, that was what I was a little worried about. Let's go to Q&A. I know we have some Q&A here. I want to make sure we get that in before we close. We will go on beyond the time.
Okay.
Answering questions for you. We do have a survey we'd like you to complete. You'll get that as well for those of you that have to drop.
Okay, right. All right. So Lisa asked a question. I have 91% storage used on my business account, and I would like to start over with my business account, including the email address. Can I tell her how to find this information on this? I have really gotten tripped up on this. Lisa, do me a favor. If you want, I can send you a link, Lisa. Put your email address in the Q&A. And after this is over, I'll send you a link to where you can get more information. Okay, Doug, I see your slides now. Do you want to go ahead and keep on?
Just want to let people know that we do appreciate any comments they have, other seminars that they would like us to present, like this one with people with the background Pamela has. Please do send that to us. And again, we wanted to note our website for you to refer to and request a mentor. Other than that, we're going to go right to Q&A. Okay,
great. Next question is from Tanya. Hello, Pamela. Can I have two different businesses and use the same address? So Tanya, that's a tricky one. Google has a viewpoint for one person can have one business at one address. We all know that's not reality. You may have multiple businesses that you're running from the same location. What I suggest you try doing is your first address, Tanya's Pet Shop or Tanya's Puppy Training Service. Say that it is at 123 Main Street, Suite A. And then you can try with your other business, whatever your other business is, Tanya's Pie Shop. Try 123 Main Street, Suite B. Give that a try. It might work. I have heard situations where people have said that they've tried that and Google's like, great, send us a video showing us the two storefronts or what have you. But give that a try. That might work. Technically, according to Google, one person, one business, one address. But hopefully that workaround will work for you. All right, Catherine says, I went through GoDaddy in that as that is where my website is hosted. They handled it all and I never received anything from Google. All right, Catherine, I'm not sure if you're referring to your business profile or your email. The one thing, the answer is really the same for either one of them. GoDaddy and all of the big organizations that offer to set up your business profile for you or offer to set up your Google Workspace account for you, those big organizations are all Google partners. What can be frustrating, and I know because I have fallen into this trap, is if you have a problem, if you go straight to Google, Google will say, hey, you bought this through GoDaddy. GoDaddy needs to solve the problem for you. If you go to GoDaddy, they may be like, oh, go talk to Google. I actually had that problem with Wix. So that may be a little bit frustrating. If you did sign up to receive that list of free resources from me, email me back and I'll see if I can give you any suggestions. But typically, if you got it through GoDaddy, you have to go to GoDaddy to get all of your questions answered. Google won't answer them directly for you. All right, Tanya says, how do you close out an old business on Google? You can do that through your Google business profile. Be mindful though, or be thoughtful about it, because you can mark a business as closed, in which case it will still be out there. It'll just say closed. That may not be appropriate in all situations. If you don't want that to happen, you may be able to go through the help section and contact customer support through Google and just say, hey, this needs to be closed, but I don't want it to look like it closed because it never really existed or something along those lines. But you can close it from inside the back ends of your business profile. Next question, if you delete the brick and mortar address because you're working from home, will your accounts be frozen? Generally, it should not be frozen. However, be mindful that it could be frozen. I've kind of heard it go both ways. And if your account gets frozen, don't worry about it. You'll just have to re-verify it. But I like to let people know that in advance, so that way they're prepared and maybe decide, you know what, you're going to make that change, during kind of a downtime, maybe 4th of July week is, that's a downtime for your business. Nobody contacts you during 4th of July week. Maybe make the change then, so that way you'll have time to kind of react to it. Christine says, how do you delete old photos? You just have an option to add photos. Yeah, Google doesn't want you to delete your old photos, sadly. And I hear that from a lot of people. They'll say, the photos that I had 5 years ago, they don't represent my business anymore at all. All that you really can do is add a lot more new photos. On occasion, you may be able to flag a photo. If you can justify to Google why this is no longer appropriate, they may remove it. But I have heard people not having a whole lot of luck getting old photos taken off their business profile. Debbie says, will a recording be sent to us? Absolutely, Debbie. SCORE will send you the recording. Give them about 48 hours to get it out to you. Leslie, you're asking a question that I'm not 100% certain of the answer. Could I create a Google business profile in Germany, even though I'm based in the US? Are you asking me, do you want one to show up on a map in Germany? To be honest, Leslie, because I work for the US division of Grow with Google. That's who my client is. I'm not sure what the rules are for Germany. That's something you probably have to Google that to get the answer of that. Okay. Somebody just asked how to delete or improve bad reviews. I already talked about that, so I won't get into it again. Let's see. Just kind of looking through some of these things I've already answered. How do I pick the front photo of the listing? That is when you go into the photos in your back end, you can designate one. I think they call it the cover photo. Let's see. All right, Sam asked a good question. I work as an independent contractor for a company and have my own business name. I tried to put in the link to my website that is specific to me, but has the company name, my name, and it was rejected. Is there a way around that? My hunch is probably not for your situation, Sam. There are certain business categories where people are independent business professionals. Those are things like, well, you might be in real estate. Those are things like real estate, where you're an independent business professional, but you have to work under this umbrella organization. Doctors that have their own practice, but it's part of a bigger group. Attorneys that have kind of their own practice if they're part of a bigger group. And I think the fourth one is insurance people that are kind of independent practitioners, but they're part of a bigger group. If you're in one of those categories, you can have your own Google business profile. Now, Sam, I think what might be tripping you up, and I think you kind of identified that, is there are a lot of organizations where you're an independent contractor and you have a website, but it's not really your website. Your is basically just the front door to the main website. And it might be like sam.bigcompany.com. If that's the case, you're not going to be able to have your own individual website on your Google business profile. In which case, then what I would say is something along the lines of, call me in your description, say, call me and I'll get you more information. You may be able to put it in one of the posts and that may work for you. I'm not 100% certain about that one either. All right. And Lisa had the question about needing more storage. Will I have to buy more storage if I can't delete old content? You can buy more storage if your storage is full. In my observation, because I periodically get really close to having running out of storage in my Google accounts, what I find is there's actually there's some statistics that will tell you what is hogging up the majority of your storage. What I have found for me is consistently it's my emails. It's not videos, it's not documents, it's actually emails. So periodically I go through my emails and I will delete big chunks of them, typically like the sent emails. I don't want to necessarily delete the emails that people send to me because oftentimes I'll be like, oh, I need to go back and talk to that person I talked to 2 years ago. But I have found that when I delete my sent emails, that magically frees up a bunch of storage. All righty, so I apologize for being 8 minutes over. I appreciate those of you that stuck with me for these extra 8 minutes of your lives. I look forward to seeing you at the next webinar that I do for SCORE Minnesota, and I wish you all the best of luck with everything that you're trying to do, both in your business life and your personal life, because I know as small business owners like I am, that those two things get really closely woven together. Until next time, I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Pamela. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.